Destiny 2. Sorry guys, it's been a while since I've slept. Been hitting it really hard since launch. Dude, Destiny 2 is amazing. Story's good, weapons are good, all around, just good stuff. Sorry I haven't posted any videos, man. I've been busy getting grinding and stuff like that. I was streaming for a while, but you know, the grinding became much more important. Got all 3 characters raid ready, stuff like that. So I mean, it's one of those things that took some time, a lot of fun. I didn't want to do loot caves, so I did it legit, stuff like that. But basically, so what we're showing you now is the Rat King challenge mode. Basically what it is that once you get beat through the story mode, then on every planet you get a exotic weapon quest. And long story short, this is the one from Nessus. Basically the last step of it is to be in a fire team with more than one other person who has the same step of the quest. And you have to beat the Nightfall, not only, which is extremely difficult at this point because nobody has the light, to pull this stuff off easily. I mean, we get through it a bunch. It took us a bunch of tries and stuff like that. But not only do you have to do that, but you have to do the Nightfall with 5 minutes remaining on the clock. So as you see in the bottom right, maybe it might be right over my shoulder. But basically, you start with 10 or 11 minutes, and then it starts to count down. As you kill, reds, you get 2 seconds. Yellow enemies, you get 7 seconds. And basically, so it's a speed run of a brand new Nightfall, first week. So in the burn switches every, minute and a half. So you have to be aware of that. And without special weapons and heavy now, it's a little more difficult because you have your kinetic and your energy and stuff like that. So the energy weapons actually, if you're not the right damage type, what you're going to end up doing is having a lot of damage negation, and you're going to be really at a disadvantage. So you want to make sure that you're swapping properly, using the right subclasses, stuff like that. I'm going to do some more videos about the other stuff in Destiny 2 that I've really gotten into, but this is just the first thing that really popped that was like something that I really thought a lot of people should, needed to know, people who are Nightfall ready and stuff like that and have the quest. So anyway, you see us swapping. As soon as it says void, I'm pulling out my hard light, which is badass, by the way. It can swap all 3 elements just by going into the menu and changing the the core or whatever, which is super cool. And basically just whatever that is, that's what you're using. And if you don't have what it is, don't bother using other elements, just use your kinetic. The other thing is callouts are very, very important. Making orbs, very, very important. Cycling supers is probably the most important thing that you're going to do during this entire strike. The only other thing I can say is that you see a spot where we skip it with sparrows. That's because there's not a lot of stuff to kill, and it's just a waste of time. The other thing is that when you get to the second room, where you have the 2 tanks, basically you're going to want to, before you even start damaging the first tank, you're going to want to press that first button. It does some damage to the tank. Use your burn to your advantage, do damage to the tank. And then basically when you get up top, there's another button you hit, the second tank comes down, and this is where we were having the most trouble. I mean, we did this thing like 15 times. So eventually what we ended up doing was, Mike D actually found the strat online. We can't claim it, but that's what we used. So I had Mike D and Olive Base run up behind the tank, and there's actually 2 pillars that stand up. You can actually walk out onto these beams. It's super easy to get up, and hardly any enemies can hit you. So if you watch during the video, during the tank scene, you don't actually see where they stand, but you can see them on the map. I'm just doing ad duty, that way there's nothing else hitting them. They're taking out the tank, I'm jumping up, killing the guy, and then we're busting through, getting to the rest of the boss fight. Also, once we get to when you get into the room right before the boss fight, servitors first, always servitors first, because they do just a ton of damage, and they also will shield the other enemies, which is just a massive pain in the ass. Once we got up to the boss, we had Solar Burn come up as soon as we got there. Mike D had Celestial Nighthawk and Golden Gun, and all of base had the new Dawnbreaker subclass equipped. So he cast Dawnblade and just wailed on him while I had the Mana War, which is the gun you get at the end of the quest of Io. And it's a linear fusion rifle, so it's basically like Queenbreaker's bow, but like not shitty because I hated that gun. And we just wail on him, dude, and we do so much damage that the boss doesn't even have enough time to do his normal routine of like jumping on the pillar, making the bubble, and then we have to dunk, and then he comes back down, blah blah blah. He didn't even have time, dude. We had him below health before he could even go through the rest of that. So he literally jumped up and then jumps right back down. And then it just so happened that Arc came up, and I just waylaid him with my super. So, I mean, you're only supposed to do this thing with 5 minutes left on the clock. I think we had something like 6.5 or like 7 minutes or something like that. It was crazy. But anyway, we got this thing, man. The Rat King. It's a great sidearm. It's a exotic kinetic sidearm. So it's primary slot. And basically, the more people that you have in your fire team, it stacks damage. So like, if you have all 6 people running in your fire team, that gun does that much more damage because it stacks up to 6 times with other people who are running the same weapon. And then also, after every kill, if you get a kill and then reload, you go invisible, which is, Titans and Warlocks can't do that. So I mean, this is a great gun. It was really fun. There's a little bit of footage of how the gun works right at the end. That's it. Have fun. Like me, share me. I don't give a shit. Happy hunting, Guardians. I'm gonna go. Just show us what we're doing.
I'm already here.
Same, go to mine.
Go to the other one.
Another tank. There was another tank on the elevator.
I don't have a fucking grenade.
Oh my fucking god. That tank cheese.
Don't get cocky, dude.
That was it.
Void right now, which means it's gonna be Arc when we get out there. And then Solar.
We found Zod.
Void.
Don't let him escape.
It's Arc now. solo.
Almost back to the surface.
Watch for air support. This guy's too smart to not have a backup plan.
Yeah, backup plans are overrated.
Here we go.
Just remember, save your six. Save your supers. Bullshit. Tell me it's gonna switch to ARC. Please switch to ARC. Please switch to ARC. Please switch to ARC.
Take that, son. Yeah. Guardian
Sounds like I returned at just the right time. Excellent work, friends. Thanks, boss. It's by the book. Oh, wait.
Don't forget about the signal flares.
Dude, that was fucking... Dude, the rack was 294. This weapon becomes stronger when nearby allies also have it equipped stacks up to 6 times.
Oh my god, I got it. 294.
Reloading immediately after a kill grants you a brief period of invisibility. Oh dude, if you get a kill and then reload, it fucking makes you go invisible.